Guitcon, yeah.
So we were talking about last year, and we're like, it was so cool doing it, and so amazing. Like, how are we gonna beat it or top it?
Give me some warm-up exercises. How do you? Okay.
Down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah, exactly.
Down, up, down, up, down, down, down.
That's a great place to start, though. How do you warm up for a show?
Warm up?
Yeah. What do you do? Like,
it depends on if. Obviously you want to get the fingers going, right? But for me, doing exercises, I still find boring as a playing guitar for like 50 years. But for me, it's like if I'm playing with the drills, I practice the really hard licks really slow, so I can nail them at the show. And with Bon Jovi, I just run every solo that I have to play in the warm-up room before I go on stage, because it's better to screw up in the warm-up room than in front of 20,000.
I used to do the same exact thing where you just get, because you're like, okay, I better go over that solo. Don't get cocky. Like, go over it one more time, even though you've played it 50 times live or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want to screw up Wanted Dead or Alive in front of 20,000 people, because then you suck.
Same thing with me.
Exactly.
Like, go over
hey, man, one of the best solos ever.
Yeah, you gotta
do it with the dude, the voice.
Yeah, I lost it once in Hotel Color at the. Right there, I like forgot where arpeggio was. I was like, what? Oh, it's E, and I missed the going to the E minor. The first round of the. And afterwards, I said to Stuart Smith, dude, I can't believe I did that. And he goes, dude, don't worry about it. Joe Walsh always says every night, I screw that up at least once. Because, the slides with that part.
Oh, my God. So totally.
So he's like, don't worry about it. He was just laughing at me. But
that's funny.
One arpeggio. And I kicked myself for a week for forgetting that one little. Hopefully nobody even noticed.
That's funny, though. And probably nobody noticed.
I hope not.
Because we're our worst critics. You get on stage and you go, oh, my God, that sucked.
Yeah.
And you got to get over that hump.
Right.
Speaking as a professional guy playing on stage in front of lots of people, if you trip up and you let it stay with you, it could ruin the rest of your show.
Right.
But if you bit it, but get back in the game, man, and then you have a great show. So, and it's the same thing if you get an evil eye from somebody else in the band, and you're like,
I hate that.
Fuck you, I know what I'm doing. And then you have a good show again.
It's usually at least a few songs for me before I can get my game back. I hate that feeling. Like I tell myself mentally, like whatever happens, the evil eye, or you make some dumb little mistake, and then it's like, okay, dude, brush it off. Who cares? Nobody even noticed. But I still find myself in the next song thinking about it, and maybe the one after, and then something happens and I've forgotten about it. After that. Something else good happens.
I gotta talk myself to get over the hump quick. Otherwise, when I think about it, I get distracted and then I'll screw up again. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people. But me, I can overcome. Yeah. Because I'm thinking, dude, you're a fucking pro. You can do this. And then you continue. If I don't ask you this, I'll totally forget.
All right.
How do you mix your in-ears? Like, I'll give you an example about what I mean, so we can talk about it the same way.
Okay.
My voice, because I do a lot of backgrounds, so my voice is king. It's up here.
Yeah.
And then my guitar, and then Tico.
Yeah.
And then everybody else underneath, just a little bit. Because I find I have my best performance when I got time and I can sing to my guitar.
Yep, sure.
And then everybody else for like a location in the song. Like, oh yeah, we're in the chorus again.
That totally makes sense, yeah. But you being a singer, you're strong singer, and you're actually singing lead sometimes, really, right? Yeah. So it's like you mix it like a singer would, I would think.
Yeah, of course.
I get a lot of drums too. That's probably the most important thing next to my guitar. But I get pretty much an overall mix with my guitar, maybe a few dB over everything else, and I pan it a little bit left, and then I have the other guitar player panned, because usually I'm playing with another guitar player, panned a little bit this way. And it's really a pretty even overall blend. Yeah. And one thing I hate is having my vocal mic too hot in my in-ears, because the phasing of your close mics on the guitar cab and then the vocal mic being up here, it just makes the guitar sound like crap all night.
We don't have cabinets. So, I'm sorry, we do have cabinets, but they're under the stage in ISO boxes. Yeah. So that's a completely different animal. You don't have the pant leg going like flapping in the wind when when you're soaring into something. So I miss that. I miss having notes last, because the magnet of the guitar is talking to the magnet of the speaker, and you get that communication, which we call feedback. Right?
Yeah.
I don't have that. But I did find in the last 5 shows, and I can't wait to get on that stage again.
Yeah.
In the last 5 shows, I found a spot on stage that even through the stage and through the lid of the box into the cabinet, there was like a little, ooh, and I'm like, what? So at soundcheck, when we got 6 shows coming up, at soundcheck, I'm gonna like mark, put an X on the floor, put an X right here, and this is the spot. Except I'm facing Mecca, which is with my back to the audience, but I don't care because I want that sustain.
Yeah.
Totally.
Whatever it takes to.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, buddy. I remember Brad Whitford from Aerosmith. You know, we played a few shows with him, and I remember standing on the side of the stage in his Tex world watching him play, and he had that where he was like, Brad finds a spot every night, and it was a specific song,
It's
but
special.
he turns around with the Les Paul and he tries to find that.
Yeah.
And he's got it marked and everything, you know. That was
love
cool.
it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So drills, so show me like an example of what you would play really slow.
Okay, we have there's 2 specifically that
Okay.
come to mind. One song is called "I Wish My Beer Was as Cold as Your Heart."
If you guys haven't watched Phil's great videos, so watch some of his music videos he's made for his own music and stuff, because they're amazing and they're funny and they're really well made. And a lot of it, but correct me if I'm wrong, but you shoot it yourself on your iPhone sometimes.
I do. There was one.
so great.
The stuff that I've shown you hasn't even been posted yet.
Oh, okay.
Because that's for the new record. But "Talk You Off the Ledge," off the second Drills record called "We Bring the Rock and Roll." "Talk You Off the Ledge," I actually shot the video with iPhones.
Oh, okay.
And on 3 or 4 different locations, 5 locations, and edited it in iMovie.
Cool.
And I put it up. And I mean, just to give an idea to anybody that wants to make a rock video, iPhones, iMovie, I put it online, and my friends, my professional friends are like, hey, did you get a record deal? That video's so pro. So don't say we don't have a budget to make a video, because that costs me nothing.
Right.
You know?
Right. You can do anything these days.
Yeah,
with,
totally. But I just recently cut video to 3 new songs, and that was a lot of fun because we have 15 drummers on the new record, and
all amazing, but like you've got
like heavies.
It's like Kenny Aronoff and Taylor Hawkins.
Even 3 of the videos that I cut was one with Taylor Hawkins, one with Matt Chamberlain, and one with
Tommy Lee, right?
Brent Fitz, who's on tour with Slash right now.
Good friend of
So
mine.
yeah, we go way back, right?
Yeah.
You're Canadian.
Yeah, dude. I've known Brent since he was 17.
Wow.
I mean, like he was a kid from Winnipeg.
Well, he told me that he was in a band that opened up for a band that I was in called Frozen Ghost back in
I remember Frozen Ghost.
88 or 89.
Some deep Canadian
So
stuff
we
going on,
go
right?
way back.
Yeah.
But and then obviously we grew up with the same kind of music kind of thing with the Canadian rock that we were obviously we grew up on with, mixed in with all the rock all over the world that everybody was growing up on.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where, because we had that state of mind and we love the same stuff and we have the same influences, the first time I actually played with him, having known him for 25 years, but then we came here actually to a bass camp in Markner-Kirkin a couple of years ago, and he did a drill show. And I was talking to Daniel, the bass player, I'm like, is it just me or you feel like you've been playing with this guy for 25 years?
Yeah.
Because it just locked in. The chemistry was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So we've done some shows since, and every time we do it, it's awesome.
He's so great, man. And he plays bass. He's so musical, and he knows a lot of songs.
He's really musical.
Right? I mean,
and he locks it into his brain. And he doesn't read charts.
Yeah.
He just, and then you tell him to change something really minute in an arrangement, and he just nails it. It's like, I think it's the capacity that a lot of us Canadians have because we played in cover bands growing up.
Right.
And you had to have that ear. Because you didn't have YouTube to learn songs or slowing it down or anything like that. It was dropping the needle or pressing play on cassette deck.
That's right.
And rewind and all that shit.
Yeah, dude. I used to do it with a 4-track. I had like a Tascam, and it had the 1 3/4 and whatever, the 3 and whatever speed, like the double speed.
Yeah.
And I'd record at double speed, and then I could slow the solos down to half speed on the 4-track instead of doing it like with the turntable or whatever. But we didn't have this fancy stuff that people have these days.
Fancy stuff.
But you developed your ear that way, right?
Yes, and that served me being a session guy in the mid 2000s. So I still do sessions now, but I was working like every week on somebody's record, and it was because people always called me back because even though I didn't read, my ear was like I knew exactly what to do. My instincts were good, and you know, if I'm a songwriter as well, so I could come in and they go, we need a secondary part for this chorus, and I'd hear the melody and either have a counter melody or a drone that would take that vocal, make the vocal sound even cooler.
Yeah.
And that's hey, we gotta get this guy back.
So
it was kind of a good tool to have with the ear.
Did you feel that this is something I noticed when I got to LA, and because I moved in '90.
Yeah,
and it was still
way before me. I moved in '97.
But it was still Sunset Strip time when I got there. So the Sunset Strip, I mean, Nirvana hadn't happened yet. None of that was happening. So what I was coming out of was the Canadian cover band scene, where you had to, like you say, you had to have an ear, and if you couldn't learn the songs and get the right tones and stuff, then you weren't going to get a gig in a band up there. It was like just this is what the scene was like up there. There was a lot of hotels, like motor hotels with rock clubs attached to them, and you'd wheel in for and mostly
3 nights.
Or a full week, right?
35 minutes, 45-minute sets.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And
a
you
week.
roll in
We
with,
did 7 nights in. Ever play in Sault Ste. Marie?
No, but I know. See, I didn't do this. I didn't do it. I'm a couple years younger than you. He's my older brother, Phil, over here.
What's up?
Always will be. My older brother. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, man, I'll take it.
Okay, so, but yeah, so I moved at 19. I was right out of high school. So I thought about doing the Canadian cover band thing for a minute because I had a lot of friends doing it. And I was hanging out in all those places and they'd get me up to jam. And I went, I think I'm going to go to MI. I'm going to get out of here. So I left and I went out right when I was 19.
That was a good plan, man.
So,
it worked out.
I mean, it worked out cool. It did. But the scene was really great. And a lot of great players, good friends like Brent that came out of that scene. And now Todd Kearns, you know, Age of Electric. You know, Todd Kearns and Brent Fifth, two guys that play with Slash now. They were in cover bands playing 5, 6. It's like the Beatles, you know, doing the Hamburg thing, like going there and playing, singing all night. And you were doing that, right? I mean,
exactly.
That's how.
And then
that's
I
why
was
you
telling
were.
somebody about my voice because you know they said that I sang back then, and I said I did, but not as good as I sing now, because I didn't have a technique. I didn't know how to do it, so I would sing out of necessity because we couldn't find a singer, so we were always a 3-piece, and then I would sing until I lost my voice. And then, but my voice, I guess I didn't kill it because it would come back stronger.
Yeah.
And then lose it, come back stronger, come back stronger, come back stronger. Before now, I don't lose it anymore, and I can sing anything, anytime I feel like it.
You built it like a muscle.
And it's just you learn how to use your instrument, and that's the thing. You have to learn how to use your instrument because everybody's throat is different. All the structure, the windpipe, everything is different. You know, breathing is important.
Yeah.
Not pushing. You have to pace yourself if you want to be able to sing that much every night, right?
I heard Jules say once because I did a tour with her in 2006, and she's a great singer, and she said, you know, I don't know what it's gonna do from night to night, but she had that awareness of like it's gonna do something, and I just kind of got to feel it out, and she learned to enjoy that.
Exactly it.
Like enjoy that. It might not be what it was last night, but I'll just work around those you know, work around.
Well, see, I can
the
do that with the drills.
Yeah.
I have that comfort zone where I can sing my ass off one night and then get up the next day and I go, guys, I don't have much of a voice. And then I go sing at soundcheck and there is a voice there.
Something. Yeah.
And they're like, I thought you didn't have a voice. I go, I'm surprised too.
Right.
But I don't have that comfort zone in Bon Jovi.
Right.
That's 2.5 hours of singing a lot of backgrounds and it's got to be the same clear tone every night.
Yeah.
So there's no, it's a little rough today, you know, and I don't want to ever have to walk into that spot with the rough voice. And there was one point where at the beginning of the 2017 tour, I had a really bad cold.
Okay.
And I was hacking and I was running down below, blowing my nose and then running back up and nobody knew. Out of 20,000 people you're doing this in front of.
Yeah.
And I could still sing.
Wow,
so,
cool.
and I wasn't sleeping because my cold kept me up and I'm like, I don't know how I'm singing, but it's working.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the steroids. Probably, right?
Must have been one of
Yeah,
them.
probably. But, you know, it was really, you really got to, when you're a singer, you really got to know how to use that instrument.
Yeah.
But do you want to get back to the?
We went way out in the weeds
we
there.
did,
but it's
but
good.
I'm usually the guy that keeps going the other way. But I remember, so I'll steer it back in.
I like that you're bringing us back to. Yeah, I want you to show me like you know.
Because
So when
I wish my beer was as cold as your heart.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
So I'll keep it clean so you can hear the notes. But it's
Okay.
like this thing I came up with a really long time ago where I make they're always a dissonant semitone, like notes that hang over each other. So like when it's slow like this,
I know what this is gonna. Yeah,
when
I've
it's
heard you
slow
play this.
like this, it sounds like, you know, cats in a bag fighting. But when it speeds up, it's got its own little thing. So that's the kind of.
Okay, so.
And the cool thing about that is you get the open B.
Okay.
But as you move down the neck, you have no open string. So your first finger becomes the highest note on the highest string. So it sounds like. Wait. So I gotta do that a couple of times slow, so I know I can nail it that night.
Okay, show me really slow the first couple of, because this is hard.
Okay, you guys, this was way too tough for me to get down on the spot sitting there with Phil. So I told myself once I get home, I'm going to sit down, get some coffee, which I did, some Pete's coffee. I'll sit down and learn it and practice it, and then I can show it to you guys at both a medium tempo and a slow tempo. It's a really, really cool lick and definitely uniquely quirky and Phil all the way. Okay, here it is.
So say I'm going from here. And once you get here, you're doubling what you did up here. It's like there's an octave of it.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's gonna
So there
take
was
me a
another
minute.
cool thing. That whole solo has 3 signature PX licks.
Yeah.
That one, and then it's like a bendy kind of thing, and then I stole something from Eddie, like wait. Something like that, and then it's like because we're in E, so it's
Okay.
like right,
Okay.
and then
Show me that again. Okay.
so basically what you're doing is you're hitting a note and then bending up to the same note on the other string. And then this one's more complicated, so
That's a big stretch there. Okay.
so I gotta do.
So you go.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now I gotta go through the solo. Hold on a second. Oh, and it's not even, it's a Yuli Rock
Ah.
thing that I stole from Hellcat.
Oh, wow.
So it's
okay.
like, I go. So those, I go from a PX lick to a Yuli John Road song to a fucking, another Phil X lick, which is, I love the dissonance, right?
That's great, dude.
Kinda
Well,
like-
but it sounds like you know, you're combining all the things and you've got a
Yeah.
sound of your own, which is so awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think, and when I speak to music classes in schools and clinics and stuff like that, I preach to try to develop an identity.
Right.
Because everything else has been done. So unless you come up with something new, you don't stand out.
Yeah, good
And there's
point.
so many great guitar players.
Right.
Right?
It's true.
You're a fucking great guitar player. But the funny thing is, it's like we talked about the other day, it's not the Olympics. It's not a race.
It's not sports, man.
But
yeah.
you do need to stand out to get a gig.
You do.
Right.
You do need to stand out to get a gig. But I think that people sometimes maybe, like, it can't be stated enough that you don't necessarily have to play a million friggin' notes to get the gig. It's got to be, yes, you got to have a voice, but it's more about your time and your attitude you put in your playing and your, you know what I mean? Like that stuff, even in an arena or whatever, and we might have talked about this last year, but it's like, it kind of just goes over people's heads if it's like, whereas one, you know, those things like that big band, you know, or whatever. Like a little, you know, those big bends. Many times I'll be playing the simplest thing in like E. you know, that bend
That
don't
has
get people.
way more attitude
Yeah.
than hitting a blistering amount of notes.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, I think
and it's
so.
like, and speaking of a note, like say one note, my favorite quote in the last year, Miles Davis. Miles Davis, which was there's only 20% is the note, 80% is the motherfucker who played it.
Which
is true. It's there's so much attitude, and it's the guys with attitude that stand out.
Yeah.
And it's like the note, the choice of notes, obviously being musical and all that stuff. But I mean, I know a bass player that got a gig over a better bass player because the better bass player was playing like this.
Right.
And the other bass player who got the gig was jumping up and down and fucking pogoing and going into the singer's face. And the singer was like, we gotta get this guy.
One of the first tours I ever did, man, a whole bunch of bass players came in, the same deal. Great bass players, you know, some really good musicians came in, that guy. Then this guy came in that was maybe 60% of the bass player of any of those other guys. But for some reason in the rehearsal studio that we were in, there was these costumes lying around. I don't know why, but one of the things that was lying around was a pair of Elvis glasses with some sideburns attached and a cowboy hat. Yeah. And the guy came in and he goes like, and he had hair like yours and kind of like a mustache, and he put on the Elvis glasses, so he's got this, and then he put the cowboy hat on, and he's like, okay, I'm ready, let's do it. The dude had a gig before he played it.
There you go, man.
I want to be on the road with that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was like that.
Yeah, fun people on the road is always a good thing too. That's a bonus.
Yeah, and you know, he was like aloof and confident, and it was like it meant everything.
Well, that's the whole thing. If you have the conviction, say you play less, or at a smaller percent, like you were saying,
right?
But your confidence and conviction sells it.
Yeah.
As opposed to this guy's got more technique, but he's more laid back and kind of like timid a little bit.
Right.
You're definitely gonna aim for the conviction.
I think so. 100% of the time. Okay, let me ask you a couple things about like a couple different things. First of all, like vibrato and bending.
Yes.
What's your approach to vibrato? Do you ever do the kind of the Clapton, like this thing, or do you have a certain thing that you always do?
I'm more from the school of Angus Young.
Okay.
Back in Black. That kind of thing.
Aggressive shaking of the.
It's again the word that you just used, aggressive.
Right.
It sounds aggressive. Like it's got balls.
Right.
And you can take it to the extreme.
Yeah.
And if it's not an aggressive selection of music, then it's not that. I play for the song, which we should, right? But I play, you know, if it's a feeling aggressive, it's easy to get it out. And if it's not, like for me, like we're talking about bends.
Yeah.
And then it's like throwing in like so I'm in E as well, right? So there's stop it.
No, you sound so good.
There's like elements of everything's feel. Right. It's not like learning something and then just playing it.
Right.
There's putting your stink on it.
Yeah, well, I can hear your it stinks.
How's it stink, man?
It stinks really, really good.
I truly feel like, I feel the same thing when I watch you play, man. I really do. And I know last year everybody was like, these guys are just jerking each other off. But no, it's true. We appreciate each other's gifts, you know, and I think that's really, really amazing that we could like even hang out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well,
and then we're like
Canadian
bros.
kids.
We're like hanging. We were in Germany a month ago.
Well, you mentioned Uli.
Uli, and we hung out with Uli.
Yeah.
And I never hang out with anybody until 3 a.m.
Yeah.
But we did.
That guy.
And that guy is a trip, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
But you know, you were like, I'm looking on the list, and the bass player's walking around going, I don't have a voice. And I'm like, wait a minute, my buddy, Pete Thorn, is doing Immigrant Song.
That's right.
How are you gonna sing Immigrant? He's not singing Immigrant Song. So I just put, hey man, do you want me to sing Immigrant Song? Oh my God, you would save my life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So
we had some fun.
I gave you the guitar. And I'm like,
you not only did you sing,
I could not play it.
Oh, dude, you were great. You were awesome. What do you mean? It sounded great.
I was like, you know, when you're used to, you know, where your guitar's sitting when you play live, and then somebody hands you something and it's a little higher, and the angle of your elbow and wrist is wrong.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like I'm being a pansy, but it's true.
Well, you're doing
There's
reverse.
stuff I can't do sitting
You're being
down.
a reverse pansy because the guitar is higher and the strings were lighter, and you're like, how am I supposed to play this? It's because I'm a wuss. My guitar's got lighter strings. And
No,
it's just
what do you have?
the action. So what's on
Wait,
right?
what gauge are you using?
They're 9.5s.
Me too, man.
Oh, okay. So they're not lighter. No, they're not. All right.
I got lucky. Something happens when you get such a great gig like I have, where clear tone. I've been using clear tone strings forever, and they treat me great. And what happened to me was Bon Jovi plays in E flat,
Right.
so I'm using 10 to 46 in E flat. So you do that for 2.5 months, and then you go home and play with Phil X and the drills. I just said my name, and you play with the drills. In 440 with 10 to 46, and my left hand, it's got all.
Well, plus you're doing like crazy stuff.
Well, yeah, I'm doing that stuff too, but my hand was like, oh, fuck you.
Right.
So, and 9s are just too light. I just can't
think
switch
so.
to 9. So
Yeah.
somebody told me about 9.5. So when I called clear tone, I said, hey, do you guys got 9.5s? And they're like, no, but you're Phil X, so we'll get some.
So they made you some?
they ordered the wire, and because they have they have the shop where they make the strings with the balls and the wind and everything like that. So they got the wire and tell me exactly what each gauge is, and I did. I found it online, and I found out, let's try this, and then they made them for me, and I love 9.5s.
So is it a signature set now?
It is, and it's probably gonna come out at this NAMM.
That's
like
awesome.
they gave me a box
Great.
at the last NAMM, but it was just for me, and I took them on the road, and I used them with Bon Jovi. There's only one song that we play in 440.
Okay.
Or two songs that we play in 440. So that guitar has the 9.5s.
Okay.
But every time I come home, there's 9.5s on this because we play in 440.
Yep.
So it's nice to have the ability to switch.
Yeah.
Because to me, when I don't notice it on stage. Like if I'm playing an E with the 9.5 and then I switch to E flat with the 10s, my hand's not going, what
No.
just happened? It's like very, very close.
And that's about the
With the tension.
The 9.5, in standard, or 10s in E flat. That's a cool. You
Yeah.
know, that's like it feels about the same to me.
Yeah, to me, yeah,
Yeah.
too. Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna ask you. You've got some cool stuff for like moving up the neck. You already showed us this one crazy lick, but do you have a
Yeah.
more kind of conventional lick? If you want to start down low and you want to get to the end, almost like a break out of the box kind of thing. How do you move up? Like if you're doing something.
I mean, I take the same pentatonic boxes, and I just, instead of having them all in one, like in one space, if I take that
Yeah.
and say, instead of being stuck in this box,
Yeah.
obviously you could do, the whole thing started for me when I was just taking these boxes like, right?
Okay.
And then I'd start, okay, well that sounds like an exercise. So what if I'm like a, what happened?
No, you just confused me and amazed me with the wah, 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 wah. See, that's you. How do you even do that? It's amazing, dude. When did you develop that? Like, what what made you go, I'm gonna bend both ways?
It's most things that occur in my vocabulary are an accident. So it's just, and it's a feel thing, because I have a thing for not trying to duplicate everything I do from night to night when I play with the drills, which makes me land in a different place. Like, you know the old Eddie Van Halen thing where he likes to sound like he's falling off the stairs, falling down the stairs, but always lands on his feet.
Yeah.
I love that application to how I play guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
So I borrow that application to how I play guitar. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. I just did it once, and then I'm like, fuck, remember that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you can go or then
It sounds completely different.
because I also
It's so cool.
I also try to I love the whammy bar, but I don't want to have a whammy bar because I love how everything sounds with a stop tailpiece.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I could do the Beat It solo in our set without a whammy bar.
Yeah.
Or like. That kind of thing.
Do you do a half step? That's cool.
I stay to the scale.
Yeah, sure. Say this. I like that, dude. That's
I
great.
make it a pull-off too, so I don't pick again, but just to get.
That's kind of Jeff Becky, right? He did that thing.
So
a little bit.
like when I do the when I do the beaded thing, it's kind of like
That's so physical. I mean, you're working out right now, like doing that.
that's the aggression thing that we were talking about, right?
But it sounds you got to work hard, but it physically looks like you're doing a lot, and all that contributes to like somebody paying attention to you on stage.
But the point, exactly.
Or that, and all that compared to going, and some guys like working that.
Yeah.
That's
gonna make me look too.
It sounds exciting and it looks exciting.
Yeah.
And, it just
Well,
translates.
the other thing is too is like it's funny when people go, "Man, you make everything look effortless," and I'm like, "Really?"
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that with that lick right there, especially, right?
Yeah, no, you look like you're but the thing about you is you always look like you're having a great time and putting 158% into every single thing. That's a big part of, why you are who you are, I think. So it can't be overstated, I don't think. That kind of, it's just rock and roll, man. I mean, it's like, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Not again.
No, it just happened, so we're good.
So can you show me just so that for the viewers at home, that last lick that you did, or the lick that we started talking about, kind of the descending, sliding pentatonic thing.
Oh yeah,
so it's like as slow as you can. Without,
so if we're going like up, I can even show you where I get this one's obvious, right there.
Yep.
This one comes from here. This one comes from here. And if you keep going now, so they're all in the same boxes.
Okay.
But instead of being on all 6 strings, they're on just 2 strings.
Okay.
So you get that, but you can anywhere you can. So you go, or well. So you can like start it and then go into something else.
Okay, cool.
But there's also like taking all the same boxes, and I don't know if I did this last year, but it was like a 5-note phrase where instead of going, and that sounds like
That sounds like a rock, like a hard rock Eric Johnson kind of thing, like where he's doing 5 notes, or Bonamassa.
and other people would probably do it like. But I just like it on the 2. To me, it sounds very crisp when you do it on the high strings.
Yeah. I remember guitar teacher I had when I was at MI saying to kind of like. Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. So guitar teacher when I was at MI, a fellow named Nick, he used to do a lot of, where he'd kind of like, anything he was doing rapidly would be all about. Where he'd kind of, he'd do all his moving up and down on the high strings, and kind of more sort of like modal playing on the. He'd say, play slower on the low strings and do all your attitude there, but move around on the high strings and move up and down the neck. It was kind of cool. Like take the top 2 strings as you're kind of like, that's where all your rock movement, or not rock, that's where all your diatonic kind of like, 3-note per string stuff. Whatever,
exactly.
like, yeah.
It's a good finish too.
Yeah,
like you could be going. Which is like a play on an Eddie Van Halen thing, but
that whole thing, yeah, it's good.
We're both disciples of Ed, by the way, if you haven't noticed ever.
It's true, completely.
Yeah.
We
tie it up. We're gonna tie it up.
We got to tie it up because we got to go. Unfortunately, this was super fun.
I know,
great
man.
time. What should we? Let's end on a Van Halen. What should we do? I don't know what. Is that what we do?
I think he slides up to this and goes like.
I never did it.
It sounds like the B string has a little more. The B note has a little more tickle
This is
to
the
it.
thing about learning. Yeah, that's it. That was good.
But I love that. I think he does that phrase that on this spring. Like everything about his style, he just instead of this chord, he'd play this chord, but it's the same note.
And Dave would always come up with perfect stuff over that. I mean, you know, whoever was coming up with those melodies, it's like, it's not. Somebody said the other day, oh, Van Halen, you know, it's still like sort of 80s, whatever, like songwriting, like just kind of typical. No, man.
No,
I mean, it's like
not even close.
And you just showed a great example.
Not even
Dirty
close.
Movies is another one, right? It's like nobody talks about the slide.
Yeah.
The fucking slide, and you know, I got a great story about. I'm gonna close.
But did you hear this? That he was using an SG and took a hacksaw and cut off the bottom horn so he could get up to the high note?
You spoiled my story. That's what I was gonna say.
No, you weren't.
He couldn't slide. Fuck!
I'm sorry, man.
No, it's okay. No, you didn't spoil. I'm kidding. He hacked it
We
off.
probably read it in the same article when we were kids.
I heard it from somebody, and you know what? I asked Matt Brook about it. I said, "Is that true?" And I heard it was a Les Paul Jr., like a SG.
Okay.
You know, I heard it was. I was picturing a single cutaway Junior.
Yeah.
And then I heard that story, and that's what I was picturing.
Yeah.
And then I asked Matt about it, and he said, "Well, in the studio, there's an SG Junior with the horn cut off. It must be that guitar." And I was like,
Oh man.
well, this folklore." But
And
anyway,
he didn't send you a picture?
I know. It's true.
That would warrant a photo. If I was Matt Brock, I gotta take a picture for Pete Thorn.
I know. I
And
want to
then
see that
you could
guitar
send
in
it to
person
me.
someday. I would send it to you. But yeah, that song, anyway, nobody ever talks about the slide.
I know.
He played an amazing slide. It's melodic, it's awesome, the phrasing.
And all the
then-
drop D stuff, like the intro to Hear About It Later.
Oh my God.
Just the touch
Yeah.
with the flange and the
Yeah.
and the open strings, and he goes to the low note. It's a perfect in tune and the perfect velocity on the guitar turned down and shit.
Yeah, Fair Warning.
Yeah.
We're talking about all this Fair Warning music now,
Yeah,
which is
for
like,
sure.
and I know at the time, I think that album struggled a bit sales-wise because it didn't have the
party songs.
Well, but
It
it's
wasn't a
so
party
musical
record, yeah,
and creative.
it
And
was.
it must have been hard if you're hearing, man, the album's not so. It's like I put so much, into like those songs.
The music.
So cool. Yeah,
It's fantastic.
it's so good.
It's
So
one of
if
my
you guys-
favorites for sure.
Yeah, get into Fair
Yeah.
Warning if you haven't listened deep. Anyway, this was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always
It's
good
like,
to
and
see
I
it.
always love how we do it because it's like we're drinking coffee, but playing guitar instead of drinking coffee.
Yeah, it's true.
But it's just two buddies hanging out, and I think that's awesome. I love that.
Two Canadians.
Yeah.
Okay, one last thing. I know we're over. You live in Vegas.
Yes.
now. How do you like it? You like living in Vegas?
Vegas is an adjustment, but I travel a lot, so every time I come back, it's I live here again, But I love living 15 minutes from the airport.
Yeah, you can get to LA if you got to do a session. You told me the other day you were there in
Oh
no
yeah,
time, right?
I did. There was one session that I drove to because it was 4 days at East West Studios.
Yeah.
And then there was another session that just happened last Wednesday that I flew in the morning.
Yeah.
I did a session and then grabbed a bite and flew home the same day.
Amazing.
And because it's only a 45-minute flight, and if it's a Wednesday, it's an $84 special for a round trip.
Yeah.
You can't complain. It's like being in traffic on the 405, except
Right.
you're on an American Airlines flight watching half a movie.
Yeah, exactly. And you got friends at Brent Fitz lives there, and Todd and those guys.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I'm sure you
So
go
we
and
hang
play a
out.
little bit.
It was great. When my son turned 21, we did a gig at Vamped. The Drills played.
Yeah.
And Brent was there, of course, and Todd came and sung in the second set where we did some covers. But
Amazing.
we did a full drill show with the exception of Derek St. Holmes getting up and playing and singing Stranglehold and just what the doctor ordered. And,
Wow. Yeah.
And he's and I love introducing him because you've heard this song a million times. You've heard that song a million times, and but you watch him walk on stage, and I go, man, if you're gonna go, man, that guy sounds just like the record, it's 'cause it's him. That's the dude that sang it on the record. That's the guy singing it live on Double Live Gonzo, and he still has that voice, man. Mid-60s, I think, and he's awesome.
That's
I
cool.
love that dude. He's awesome.
That's awesome. Does he live there?
No, he was there playing with another band the next night, and he goes, hey, I want to hang out on Friday. I go, hey, you want to jam? And he got off the plane, and he's like, I'm on my way.
So
he didn't have to do that.
It's
you
not
know?
LA, Nashville, or New York, but there's still a lot of musicians coming through. Great musicians there, and there's a music community there.
Yeah,
so
it's a great community. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
cool. This was great, man.
And thank you
Yeah.
for having me on your show.
I look forward to seeing you again sometime soon.
Everybody have a good time.